capitalism. All of the gains in automation, it goes to the owner class. All you have to do is have everyone be an owner, and now suddenly any gain in automation is a gain for everybody. If you grow just one thing, it may not grow as well as if it grows with another thing. A good example of that is called the Three Sisters method of farming.
There is definitely multi apartment buildings or multi-families that do passive design.
$100 million that they gave to Joe Rogan that they would kind of be out if they breach contract. Is that a bigger number, or is 2 billion a bigger number?
I don't know,
It's a
Zach.
tough one.
This
I
is
know,
really hard.
and maybe
Yes.
comparing numbers is not Jeremy's strong suit. Gotta go kill a Jenny.
I still don't think you should kill her. I don't think it's a good idea.
It's a ghost, dude. Welcome back, everybody, to Bread Theory. Tonight we are going to continue on with our series. Oh, it looks like Trisha is just joining now. Hey, Trisha, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you, Zach?
Not too bad. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, indeed it has. It's been too long. Good to see you too.
I know. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been a harrowing couple weeks for me. Last Monday, I had an emergency root canal because my tooth was just killing me, and yeah, been recovering from that ever since. So, and then also we've been looking for housing, my wife Amanda and I. So that's been taking up our Wednesdays, and then we were painting my parents' bedroom while they're out of town this weekend. So it's been really busy, and a lot of a
Sounds
lot.
like totally understandable too. How's your tooth healing up? Is that feeling better finally, I hope?
It's is feeling better. I still need to get a crown for it because I don't currently have insurance. So all of that was I had to put on care credit, and that's all I could afford was just the root canal part, not the crown. But luckily, Amanda's getting insurance for both of us. I think that kicks in next week. So hopefully I'll be
Sweet.
able to get in soon, and well, at least the dental. I guess I can't get the actual health insurance because it would, for some reason, going from one person to two people, it's an extra like $400 out of
Holy
a
shit.
paycheck. I know it's
Stop
ridiculous.
it.
She pays like $65 a paycheck just for her, but then it's like 450 to add me on too. It's
Oh my
like
god.
what a scam. Insurance is just a scam. Hey James, hey Natalie, how you guys doing?
Yeah, like they're
Good to
they're
have
getting
you here.
fucking ridiculous with that shit when it comes to,
I
just
know it's
paying a
so.
premium. Fuck. Like
I
and, I
know.
mean and that's before the copays and shit too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Copay should just be illegal. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the point of having insurance if you still have to pay?
That that
Yeah,
that right
yeah.
fucking there. Like
What?
it's ridiculous. I swear they will do anything to squeeze as much fucking money out of people. Oh, the
Absolutely,
yes. Hi, Natalie and James.
absolutely. Ah. So how have you been, Trisha? As I said, it's been a while. So what's been going on with you?
The struggle of the juggle. I got arsenic poisoning from the water here, so
What?
fun. Yeah.
Oh
I don't
shit!
know.
Did you like your fingernails turn blue and stuff?
No, thankfully it didn't get to that point, but all of like the digestive issues that come
Jesus.
with it hit me fucking hard. So it took a few days to even start feeling somewhat human again, and I'm still kind of dealing with a little bit of the aftermath of lack of appetite entirely. But
Oh God, that's
uh,
horrible.
yeah, I think something might be up with the filtration system at this campground. Something's off because I'm not the only one. Some other people,
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sounds like class action lawsuit time.
Yeah, very well could be. I don't know. It's ridiculous,
Jesus.
but I'm at least glad I caught it in time and restocked on
Yeah.
bottled water. Like, okay, not gonna do this. But yeah, so it's been a rough last week and a half or so for me too. But still
How did
exchanging
you?
with the environment, so winning.
That's yeah. That's a problem. How did you even catch that? How did you know that that's what it was?
Well, there's this park is on a well,
Uh
and
huh.
the river that we're right alongside has a mine about a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles upriver that's been dumping arsenic in it forever. So, like
Oh
putting this
God.
filtration system after the water killed another customer's dog. And
Oh.
yeah, yeah. So it, it's permeated all of the groundwater here, so they're, you know, left with no other choice but to have something to try to
Yeah.
do that. Um, but after it happened a couple of times, because mind you, it made me sick, not to this extent, but made me a little bit sick when I first got here and had drank some of the water and gave dogs diarrhea when it gave to them, and so I'd been keeping the water stocked up and stuff, but I ran out and couldn't get to the store till the next day to restock on water, and so I was using the tap water to cook with, and make my coffee and stuff, and then got hit like really bad with it and looked up the symptoms of arsenic poisoning and went, oh, yep, 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 we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
God, that's just horrible. I mean, it's a good thing you did catch it. It's a good thing you were smart enough to know what the signs were. And wow.
It's crazy. Like they got to do something. They got to do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a fucking trip. But recovering. um, just the scary part of it is if acute arsenic poisoning doesn't kill you from high exposure immediately, it has a potential to give you cancer later on down the road.
Oh
Um,
God.
yep. So I'm loading up on the antioxidants to help flush it out of my system and stuff. So working on it, getting there.
Jeez. Well, at least I'm glad to hear that you're recovering from that and not still having to deal with it.
Thank you.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Small win though.
I'm scary. Yeah.
Uh, and thank you, Natalie, for your concern. And you're right, dental insurance isn't real great a lot of the time either. I may end up having to pay, hundreds of dollars for the crown itself. I guess I'm just gonna have to find out when I go in. Yeah, read the small print and limitations. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Won't cover anything but preventive the first year.
Right.
How are people supposed to change jobs ever if, like, they have ongoing health concerns? You just supposed to go without?
No, that's actually part of how they keep you anchored to it and make it where you feel like you have no choice but to stay in their shitty work environment and tolerate them just to keep your coverage. It's fucked up.
It is. It is. It is. One more reason that universal health care would actually be liberation for millions and millions of people, myself included.
We need universal health care. There's so many ridiculous limitations, like when I'm at
Yeah.
home in Michigan, I can access health care, um, but my Medicaid doesn't travel with me. That's the problem.
What? How
Yeah,
does that work?
because it's only a state program, not federal. So if I'm not in Michigan, I'm not covered.
But, but wait a minute. Medicaid is a federal program. How does it not cover
Um,
you wherever
it,
you
it
go?
was a state expansion on it.
Oh,
So
I see.
yeah, it being funded by the state means like they'll only cover you there. It's ridiculous, and especially when my primary care provider does not do telehealth, and so there wasn't anything I could really do. When I tried to set up telehealth with a different doctor, they were like, okay, well, we need to see you in person for the first visit, and after that, we can go forward with the telehealth. And I was like, I'm already in, like, I,
Yeah,
I
how does that
can't do
work?
exactly, so it's ridiculous. Like, stupid things like that just hinder people's ability to get proper care. It's not okay, you know?
I mean, what are you supposed to just never leave the state that you're in? Like,
I
you
guess
never leave your
so.
job, never leave your state. Wow, this is so freeing for so many people.
Right. And it's just like, oh shit, man, especially when like the prescriptions that I normally take, like the nerve blockers to help with my back, are like $1,500 a month.
Oh my
I can't afford that
God.
out of pocket. Yeah,
No.
it's ridiculous.
It is
Um,
ridiculous.
and like even trying to switch to the generic would do no good. It's the same fucking price as the name brand.
How does that one work? Like, what's the point of having? I thought the entire point of having generics was a low cost alternative.
It used to be. Now it's just a matter of okay, once their time limit on having sole patent on that drug runs out, then it just means other people can do a sister drug to that and also exploitatively profiteer from it.
What a racket. That's the whole health
Yeah,
care system. Just a racket.
right. One big Rico case.
Yeah, right. Uh, uh-huh.
And yet, Natalie,
Oh,
true, agreed. I just don't think that they consider pain management to be emergency care.
of course. Oh, you're breaking up a little bit, Trisha. Oh, shoot. I think we might lose her. Yes,
Um,
Natalie, we do. Oh, back. All right. Didn't quite lose you.
all right.
That's good.
I heard you saying that on my phone, and I'm like holding it up, like catch the better signal. On. Um, yeah, dude.
uh,
So I'm running off of my phone's hotspot right now because it's slightly better, even with extremely low signal in this area. I'm moving to a different RV park next week that actually has
oh,
reliable
nice.
service. Yeah, they've
That'd be
they've
so
got
good
an
for you.
internet service that I've used before at another RV camp. So I know I'll have solid signal again. It'll be great.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you say we dig into the book for this week? So we are
Okay.
on chapter 6. We're talking about the intimately oppressed, which refers to women in the early part of the country's history. It looks at Native women, slave women, and just white working class women in this chapter. Looks at their contributions and the ways that they were overlooked and oppressed. That's nice of you, James, to keep Natalie company there on Facebook.
It really is. That's sweet.
All right, here we go.
20 years later, the one person back in Massachusetts Bay who had spoken up for her during her trial, Mary Dyer, was hanged by the government of the colony, along with two other Quakers for, quote, rebellion, sedition, and presumptuous obtruding themselves, unquote. It remained rare for women to participate openly in public affairs, although on the southern and western frontiers, conditions made this occasionally possible. Julia Spriel found in Georgia's early records the story of Mary Musgrove Matthews, daughter of an Indian mother and an English father who could speak the Creek language, and became an advisor on Indian affairs to Governor James Oglethorpe of Georgia. Spriel finds that as the communities became more settled, women were thrust back farther from public life and seemed to behave more timorously than before. One petition, quote, "It is not the province of our sex to reason deeply upon the policy of the order," unquote,
Wow.
During the revolution, however, Spreel reports, the necessities of war brought women out into public affairs. Women formed patriotic groups, carried out anti-British actions, wrote articles for independence. They were active in the campaign against the British tea tax, which made tea prices intolerably high. They organized Daughters of Liberty groups, boycotting British goods, urging women to make their own clothes and buy only American-made things. In 1777, there was a women's counterpart to the Boston Tea Party, a coffee party, described by Abigail Adams in a letter to her husband John, quote, "One eminent, wealthy, stingy merchant who was a bachelor had a hogshead of coffee in his store, which he refused to sell the committee under 6 shillings per pound. A number of females, some say 100, some say more, assembled with a cart and trunks, marched down to the warehouse and demanded the keys, which he refused to deliver, upon which one of them seized him by his neck and tossed him into the cart. Upon finding no quarter, he delivered the keys when they tipped up the cart and discharged him, then opened the warehouse, hoisted out the coffee themselves, put it into the trunks, and drove off. A large concourse of men stood amazed, silent spectators of the whole transaction." It has been pointed out by women historians recently that
That's amazing that was just erased from the history books.
Right, right. It's like, how the fuck does everybody know about the Tea Party? But I have never heard of there being a women's coffee party that was adjacent to that. Like, that's fucking dope.
Right.
Snatching the motherfucker up by the neck and tossing him like a bitch. That's great.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. Like, no more exploiting the coffee for you, motherfucker. Coffee is life. Don't fuck with people and their caffeine.
Wow.
What a fucking trip. I've never heard of that before.
I know. And that's so cool. And it's so much better of a story than the, dressing up as Native Americans and just tossing some tea off a ship. Like, these people
Right.
seized what they wanted.
Right? Right? Like, you're done robbing us blind, guy. Gonna
That's
flick
right.
the cart and your fucking coffee. Shit. And they
I'm
didn't
trying to
even have to commit a act of cultural appropriation to do it, to try to put the blame off on somebody else. They were owning that shit. Like, yeah,
That's
no,
right.
this.
I'm looking for like images and stuff depicting the event, and there's like very, very few.
Fuck, man. Just the sheer numbers and ways that history has been not just whitewashed but manwashed, of like,
Right.
you know, fuck, there's so many dope ass women throughout history that, you know, if all you've got is that basic fucking public education, you're completely unaware of it.
Uh-huh.
Whether it be women activists or women who've worked in science and tech, you know, like,
Yeah. It's incredibly sad. That's why reading histories like this is so vitally important.
absolutely.
Because you're not going to get this in high school history class unless somehow read this book.
Right, of your own volition.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know my mom got to read this book in one of her history courses in college.
Yeah.
She and I have been discussing this since we've been covering this one, and
That's
it's
cool.
made for great conversations, you know.
Nice.
But it's like you shouldn't have to have this behind a paywall of going to college and paying tuition to get to read it. This should be a standard in high school history courses. Maybe it would be
Absolutely.
interesting, and people would actually pay more fucking attention, because this is definitely better than the bullshit we got in our textbooks.
Undoubtedly. Yeah. And the stuff in textbooks is so slanted towards patriotism and the good revolution, but no revolution after that can ever be good. Just the one time, everybody. So don't think about it.
Right. Fuck.
Yeah, it would be great to get at least a balance of perspectives somewhere there. Doing well, James. Thanks for asking. And James, if you did come back to Twitch and you didn't want to see those ads, you can always subscribe to the channel and, kick me a few bucks every month and get the cool emotes. And here's this, James. If you subscribe to my channel, I will make a custom emote of your choosing, and then everyone
That's
will be
cool.
able to use it. So, just consider it. Yeah, we need a leftist school. That'd be great, Natalie. Good freaking idea. Like an after school supplemental program or something. Be like, all right, what'd you learn in history? Okay, here's the real context.
Right? That's one of those things that I'm really proud of. Like my brother and my friends who have kids, asking them about what they're learning in history class and going, well, either that's
Yeah.
painted or completely false or, only part of the story and here's the rest of it so that they actually are fully aware. And I totally challenge my nieces and nephews all the time. Like, you know what? When your teacher's talking about these things, bring these other facts up. Because you know what? It, those things need to be, brought to everyone's awareness in the class of like, you're not getting the whole story in that fucking textbook.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely true. So why does Facebook and YouTube not charge? Well, I mean, there's ads on YouTube too. You have to pay to not see the ads on YouTube as well. So that's no different. Um, it's just that Twitch, the model is you pay by channel. So every channel you don't want to see ads on, you don't. And Facebook, I think Facebook's streaming service is just kind of an afterthought because like they want to have it, but they don't really promote it all that well. You know, you share a stream or something like that, and it barely gets seen any of the places that you see that you share it to. It's just unless you're paying, I guess. I
Right.
think there's a way to pay to get more, or if you have a whole lot of subscribers, and then you can actually send money to the people. But I guess it's still free. I don't quite know. But I mean, there's ads everywhere on Facebook anyway, so they're already that's how you do it there.
To be fair too, like they don't do that well with the targeted ad services on Facebook. When we first started up for We Are Many, Austin and I were doing paid ads on the regular to try to increase our reach. And
Yeah.
honestly, it brought us more extreme right wing trolls than any fucking thing. It wasn't reaching the
Oh
people
God.
who actually wanted to reach, wasn't reaching, those who wanted to get the political education. It was reaching people who wanted to come talk shit. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, if you're not interested in learning, you don't have to be here. You don't have to click on our fucking ads.
Mm-hmm.
So we quit doing that and wasting our fucking money and just started taking the time at the beginning of each stream to share our stream link out to other leftist groups and things like that where people are going to go, oh, hey, I can check this out, and that's been far better because it's bringing other comrades to the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And James, I can see that, not charging per channel, like if they did just a monthly subscription to Twitch the way that the YouTube does, that would probably be
Right.
appreciated by a lot of users, but just how they do it. They want to give more direct support to people that stream, even though they're taking half the cut themselves, of course, but still, it is a way to help support streamers. Like, there's plenty of streamers that make their income doing Twitch. So,
Right.
and again, you
Honestly,
get something for it. You get those
our
custom emotes and stuff.
right. Honestly, like our Patreon patrons are so helpful. Like the fact that they donate every month covers
Yeah,
our restream subscription and things like
yeah,
that to make it possible for us to keep going.
yeah. That's
So,
really cool.
you know, I love you guys for that.
Yeah.
So, James, yes, I do sometimes enjoy trolling the trolls right back. You've seen that yourself, but I don't like how we derail entire conversations and try to make it about whatever their
Oh yeah.
bullshit is. You know,
Oh yeah.
that gets to be kind of fucking annoying. But the block button is my dear friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can usually count down the messages until they mention Venezuela or North Korea or what about the Soviet Union or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
or aren't you guys just lazy and you don't want to work and that's the whole game or all this stuff.
It's like, tell me that you don't understand what communism means without saying you don't understand what
It's like
communism.
it's like no, you're thinking of capitalism where you can just own shit and get money for it. That's
Right.
not working and getting shit for it. That's taking the
Right.
product of other people's labor. But
Like, that's
you
where
know,
the laziest people fucking really excel. Fuck.
mm-hmm,
Just,
mm-hmm,
it's one of those things that really grosses me out. There was a real estate investor that I worked with a few years ago that just made me cringe so hard because he was saying, like, if you want to be a millionaire, you just need to get this number of people working underneath you, having this level of productivity every fucking month. And I'm like, so you're literally bragging right now about how much of the wealth we are producing that you are fucking raking into your own pocket while the rest of us are out here going, I'm having trouble paying my bills. Motherfucker.
yeah, yeah. But they always dress it up in language like, oh, I'm having my money work for me. It's like, oh, I'm just money now to you. You literally just see dollars and cents when you look at me because that's literally who's working for you right now. That's literally who's bringing in money to your
Right.
business.
Right.
Oh,
Like, that type of shit is why I stopped working with that investor altogether. Because I'd come on board to work with my friend Tim, who runs his shit ethically. Like, I know I've told you a little bit before about the things we were doing with like owner financing and rent to owns to be able to help people get around the credit system fucking them out of owning a home.
mhm.
And at least, with the work that I was doing with Jim, what we were actually taking as a cut every month was minimal. And because each of us were doing half the work, we split it 50-50. No bullshit. you know he wasn't
Yeah,
exploiting my labor, never would. I would work with Jim again any day, because I like being able to help people. And this system is set up to fuck people over. But those other cats that were like bragging about their exploitative shit, I was like, okay, yeah, no, fuck y'all.
right. Yeah,
Anyway,
and there are decent owners out there who do actually think about things like divvying up things in terms of who does what, but they're rare. And even still, it could be even better. You could have more say in the business just by being a worker. Um, so still, the ideal is workers owning the means of production directly. But you know, at least it's a nice step forward when you actually have a good boss. Like Amanda, the job that she's just ending for her summer job is a really great boss. Really considerate of all the workers. She was talking about how she took out a loan to cover payroll this last month or something like that. So like, she wants to make sure that her people get paid first, and she does pay them pretty decently. It's not probably as much as she makes, and she makes all the decisions, but it's still a lot better than your garden variety business owner. That looks like Trisha's frozen again. Oh, you're hearing a little bit of sound coming through. Wave your phone around.
at least right.
Oh no, we lost her. All right.
I'm
Okay.
back. So that's at least a step in the right direction. But yeah, we really do need to get everything to that point of being employee owned businesses where people are actually getting their fair pay for their time, their labor, their skills.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Absolutely.
just there's no reason for anybody to be working their ass off to make somebody else wealthy while they're going, fuck, can I afford enough groceries for the week? It's not okay.
No, it's not okay.
That's why I
I'm
think,
getting a little bit of an echo coming from you, Trisha.
okay, I'll move the phone again and see if I can get that to function better. Does that help?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not hearing it anymore. Good.
Okay, beautiful.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we should move on in the book.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
That the conditions of working class women in the American Revolution have been mostly ignored. Unlike the genteel wives of the leaders, Dolly Madison, Martha Washington, Abigail Adams, Margaret Corbin, called Dirty Kate, Deborah Garnett, and Molly Pitcher were rough, lower-class women prettified into ladies by historians, while poor women in the last years of the fighting went to army encampments, helped and fought. They were represented later as prostitutes, whereas Martha Washington was given a special place in history books for visiting her husband at Valley Forge.
No, really, what did she ever really do in her life besides inherit a bunch of slaves that she kept until the day she died?
Right, like why is she being fucking enshrined in history like some kind of awesome fucking person? And these women who are actually activists, who are active and throwing the fuck down,
Yeah.
are called prostitutes?
Yeah, right? Of all the things that you could characterize them as. Why that? Why totally just drag their credibility and their character through the mud like that? That's so horrible.
Because you know, not want to be around those encampments.
Yeah, right.
Damn bullshit.
I know. It's ever present and it always has been. Moving on. Hell yeah.
When feminist impulses are recorded, they are almost always the writings of privileged women who had some status from which to speak freely, more opportunity to write and have their writings recorded. Abigail Adams, even before the Declaration of Independence in March of 1776, wrote to her husband, quote, "In the new code of laws which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies, and be more generous to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited power in the hands of husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention are not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion, and will not hold ourselves bound to obey the laws in which we have no voice of representation." Nevertheless, Jefferson underscored his phrase, "all men are created equal," by his statement that American women would be too wise to wrinkle their foreheads with politics. And after the Revolution, none of the new state constitutions granted women the right to vote, except for New Jersey, and that state rescinded the right in 1807. New York's constitution specifically disenfranchised women by using the...
Yeah. Oh no, we lost Trisha. The patriarchy strikes again.
Leave it to my signal to cut out right when I got some shit to say. I absolutely fucking detest that motherfucker really thought that we would be so vapid to be more worried about wrinkling our heads about politics. Get the fuck here.
I know. How fucking condescending.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Just the audacity. Like,
Literally saying,
Dude.
don't worry your pretty little head.
that.
We'll take care of it.
That. Just sit there and look pretty. Don't be concerned about
That's
anything.
right.
Don't raise your eyebrows. Men don't want to see wrinkles on your forehead. Like, motherfucker,
No,
what?
no.
God. It's the audacity. Son of a bitch. And that's all. We are not vain, vapid motherfucker shit about what's going on in the world that affects us. You know? Oh.
Yeah, and you know he breezed past it pretty quickly. Let's rip a little bit here.
vote, except for New Jersey, and that state rescinded the right in 1807.
So that's never talked about when we're talking about women's suffrage and stuff like that. Women had
Right.
the right to vote in the early 1800s in New Jersey, but then that was taken away. That's funny though. But like they put women's suffrage at, I guess because it's universal suffrage at that point. But wow, to just completely skip that footnote of history, be like, oh, by the way, New Jersey was doing some shit for a little bit, but then decided, oh, wait a minute, this, this is too much freedom for women. So we gotta
Right.
rein that back.
They're forming opinions. We can't have that.
New, did you know, Amanda? New Jersey had in their original state constitution the right to vote for women, but then it was rescinded in 1807.
Well, yeah.
But they don't ever talk about that when they're talking about women's suffrage.
That's because they're embarrassed.
I mean, rightly so, but yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, that's
Can't give no
something
one no
I've never
credit.
heard of before.
Actually, I
I know.
That school of thought. I don't want to give no one credit.
Yeah.
Why is it so hot in here?
Oh, because I don't want to mess up the sound with my air conditioning, but you're not gonna be able to come on unless I do. So sorry everybody about the noise. I'll put my little windscreen in front of the.
It's too hot for me. Oh my gosh.
I can barely even hear
Hey
you.
guys.
You having trouble operating your chair?
Chop my own leg off.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, stealing that. Remember, off topic is still topic.
All
Really?
tangled up.
All related.
Why limit yourself?
Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get your headphones, but they're all tangled up.
Zen, did you make your hair darker? Or is it just a lighting?
No, well, that's just my showing because I haven't touched up the color in a minute.
She said no. That's just her root showings.
Oh,
She hasn't
they're
touched
still
up the color.
pretty.
I gotta redo the purple soon here and trim the sides up. And my
Do you
mohawk's
do dark purple or like a lilac?
I usually do like an orchid purple, like the bright pinky purple, you know?
Cute.
It's been a while since I've done lilac, but I do like that color too. But honestly, I'm kind of debating going turquoise again.
Nice.
Please do it.
I like turquoise.
I want to live through you.
Oh my god.
Okay.
You can dye your hair
I'll keep that in
turquoise
mind.
too.
Yeah, but that costs money, and we're supposed to be saving right now to buy a house.
Yeah, our dumb house and dream of home ownership.
Well, it doesn't
No.
come so easy to us because my family doesn't come from emerald mines, and your family hasn't been exploiting people for centuries. So yeah, I guess it is a little hard.
Right.
True.
Right. Didn't have that silver spoon in the mouth. But
Right?
Yeah.
I really hope you guys find the perfect house for you soon. And
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Well, we've almost been pre-approved for a mortgage.
No, we
so-
are pre-approved.
We are pre-
We're just
we
not
are
at the
pre-approved?
dollar amount we want to be at.
Okay. So as soon as we fix a little bit of credit, we'll be able to afford something that's nice. We've been actually going and looking at houses, and we found some stuff that's within our range that we like. So should be
Hell
soon
yeah.
enough. Yeah.
I will totally celebrate with you guys when you find the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you should tell everyone about that Tish.
Oh, so guess what, y'all? If you're deciding that you want to buy a house, there's something called a Tish report. It's called Truth in Sales of Housing. And it's a very heavily detailed report that breaks down things that are hazardous in the home and must be repaired immediately. Or you can use those hazardous items to bargain price-wise. It'll be items that could potentially become an expense to you as the homeowner. So things to maybe be saving up to fix or things to look into sooner or later. And then all the things that are green light, good to go. It's free. You must be given it. if you cannot access it online, you can go down to City Hall and they have to give you a report for free.
If you're in a city and a state that requires it.
Right. More states than I thought do require them, but not a lot of cities in Minnesota require it. But some of
Yeah.
them still do it anyway because it helps you sell and helps others buy from you because they're like, oh, I see there are no hazards in this house.
Oh, they start talking like Moira Rose. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's probably how I should have started. Hello, John. Thanks for taking us to tour these homes. So beautiful, the wood floors. You know I'm going to do that now. I hope he gets the reference. It's just going to be a waste.
He's probably not. I don't think he's the kind of guy that watches that. All right. Segue. Should we watch the video again?
Yes.
Okay.
What chapter?
We're on chapter 6. This is The Intimately Oppressed. It's about women in early America.
You
Got
mean
it.
a subclass of human beings?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, that completely. You just summed up what we've listened to so far.
And it's no different now. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I shouldn't
Right.
laugh. I shouldn't laugh. It just
No.
makes it worse. But also, you
It's
just
a
kind of
laugh,
have
right?
to. Yeah.
Right.
I cry when the camera's off.
Cry. Sweet laughter of what the fuck. Especially when there's actually women out there who are calling for taking the right to vote away from women. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I know. What
Yeah.
the hell?
Dude, I cried this last time after I voted. Like, got in the car and legitimately bawled. Just because, like, why? Why do I do this? I mean, I know why in my heart, but, like,
Yeah.
no one listens to me.
Yeah.
Part of
hard.
the trouble is that, you know, especially when it comes to like the electoral college facet of politics, that they don't have to listen to what the constituents vote for anyway. They can go, we know this candidate and we're gonna fucking give our voting weight to the one we want anyways because fuck you guys. You know, like how is that even allowed?
Right.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
you know, Trump and his cronies were trying to make it so that they don't even have to follow the election of what was it? The state officials could just appoint their own delegates no matter what the outcome of any state election was, or state, not state election, but state vote for
Right. They
the
can just
presidency.
pick whatever they
They
want
could just
to.
They could just send their own delegation and just completely circumvent everything. So
Right, because they want
This
to
is why-
concentrate all that power in their friends' hands.
yeah, they realize that their ideas are losing credibility, and they are a minority party that still structurally manages to cling to a majority in most instances, especially at like the state level. I mean, you should see like Wisconsin. They had I don't remember the stats from like the last election, but basically it was the Democrats won over 50% of the vote statewide, but ended up with like 30% or less of the seats in their state legislature. Yeah, just because things are so gerrymandered.
It's so fucked up and crooked.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be changed to one person, one vote, popular vote only. Fuck your gerrymandering bullshit. Fuck your electoral college bullshit. Fuck all these things that are used to sway the vote to keep more power concentrated in the hands of the wealthy. Fuck that shit.
Right? Like, if Bullshit Man were a real superhero, he would just be busy with politics constantly. He wouldn't even have time for all the politics.
Right?
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Right.
Bullshit.
All right, segueing back to the book.
Books are made of paper. Paper's made of people's
of
labor.
bullshit.
Labor is exploitative
Actually,
by the upper class.
there-
Full circle.
there's a paper that they make out of elephant dung. So
Yeah.
There you
Elephant
go.
poop paper.
Yeah, Mr. Ellie Poo.
Didn't know about that one. My brain was going more towards, well, we could make it with hemp. But
Yeah.
oh, sure. I really literally want to read some shit.
Yeah. Here we go. Book.
New York's constitution specifically disenfranchised women by using the word male.
Nice. Way to go.
While
New York.
perhaps 90%
Hey, pause a
of the
sec.
white population
Sorry.
Literally been 2 seconds. What do you have to say?
Don't suppress me because I'm a woman.
I am not.
The word female has the word male in it.
Oh,
gosh.
check
Suck it.
nerds.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be that kid in class who like, oh shit, she's raised her hand again. Like, get out!
Oh my god.
were literate around 1750, only 40% of women were. Working class women had little means of communicating and no means of recording whatever sentiments of rebelliousness they may have felt at their subordination. Not only were they bearing children in great numbers under great hardships, but they were working in the home. Around the time of the Declaration of Independence, 4,000 women and children in Philadelphia were spinning at home for local plants under the putting out system. Women also were shopkeepers and innkeepers and engaged in many trades. They were bakers, tin workers, brewers, tanners, rope makers, lumberjacks, printers, morticians,
What
woodworkers,
being put out?
stay makers, and more.
So again, sounds like Rosie the Riveter stuff happened an entire century earlier.
Right?
Like a century and a half, basically.
That's
Or
because
more.
women weren't allowed to do that book type learning, so they couldn't be writing in their diaries yet about. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Most people were illiterate at this point, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were doing all the stuff that men did. Oh, surprise, surprise. They could do all those jobs.
Because fuck knows you don't do tanning with your genitals. You use your hands.
I mean, you could, but you know.
I guess the extent of the use of your genitals for it would be the urine whole process.
Sure.
Oh,
Oh god, fuck that fast.
he's a useless and unwipeable turd.
Oh, he's talking about Trump.
Oh yeah.
You can assume if James is ranting about someone being horrible scum, that it's Trump.
He's a real piece. Not even a bidet could handle.
Whoa.
Right. Just scan down a few comments and you'll see where it gets really graphic and I'm just like, wow, James, that's brave of you.
Unflushables.
Here we go.
Ideas of female equality were in the air during and after the Revolution. Tom Paine spoke out for the women, and the pioneering book of Mary Wollstonecraft in England, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, was in the United States shortly after the Revolutionary War. Wollstonecraft was responding to the English conservative and opponent of the French Revolution, Edmund Burke, who had written in his Reflections on the Revolution of France that, quote, "A woman is but an animal, and an animal not of the highest order." She wrote, quote, "I wish to persuade women to endeavor to acquire strength, both of mind and body, and to convince them that soft phrases, susceptibility of heart, delicacy of sentiment, and refinement of taste are almost synonymous with epithets of weakness, and that those beings who are only the objects of pity and that kind of love will soon become objects of contempt. I wish to show that the first object of laudable ambition is to obtain a character as a human being, regardless of the distinction of sex." Between the American Revolution and the Civil War, so many elements of American society were changing. The growth of population, the movement westward, the development of the factory system, expansion of political rights for white men, educational growth to match the new economic needs. that changes were bound to take place in the situation of women. In pre-industrial America, the practical need for women in a frontier society had produced some measure of equality. Women worked at important jobs, publishing newspapers, managing tanneries, keeping taverns, engaging in skilled work. In certain professions, like midwifery, they had a monopoly. Nancy Cott tells of a grandmother, Martha Moore Ballard, on a farm in Maine in 1795, who, quote, baked and brewed, pickled and preserved, spun and sewed, made soap and dipped candles, and who, in 25 years as a midwife, delivered more than 1,000 babies.
Wow.
Since education took place inside the family, women had a special role there. There was complex movement in different directions. How women were being pulled out of the house and into industrial life, while at the same time there was pressure for women to stay home, where they were more easily controlled. The outside world, breaking into the solid cubicle of the home, created fears and tensions in the dominant male world, and brought forth ideological controls to replace the loosening family controls. The idea of the woman's place, promulgated by men, was accepted by many women. As the economy developed, men dominated as mechanics and tradesmen, and aggressiveness became more and more defined as a male trait. Women, perhaps precisely because more of them were moving into the dangerous world outside, were told to be passive. Clothing styles developed for the rich and middle class, of course, but as always, there was the intimidation of style, even for the poor, in which the weight of women's clothes, corsets, and petticoats emphasized female separation from the world of activity. It became important to develop a set of ideas taught in church, in school, and in the family to keep women in their place, even as that place became more and more unsettled. Barbara Welter, Dimity Convictions, has shown how powerful was the cult of true womanhood in the years after 1820. Expected to be pious. A man writing in The Ladies' Repository, quote, religion is exactly what a woman needs, for it gives her that dignity that best suits her dependence. Mrs. John.
It's funny. I wonder if that magazine was entirely written by men, and just to tell the women their place.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing dignified about being told that your only path to exist is to be dependent on a man and, be led by one. All that bullshit. That is not dignity. That is fucking dogmatic bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's toxic.
It is. And it's crazy how much that's carried through to the modern day, though, too.
Oh yeah.
Like, look at the I word culture, right?
Yep.
Like, the woman owes you. Like, oh, like, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, like, this isn't a who graces who with their presence. We are stronger together,
Mm-hmm.
and we are strong separate, but, like, this is, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think you're better than me, and you don't think I'm, whatever.
Neither of us is above the other.
No.
And that's just an impossibility for a lot of the ways that the manosphere put things.
Yeah.
It's like someone has to be dominant. Someone
Women
has
are
to be on top.
property. Like,
So,
oh, honey,
It's got to be you, otherwise.
you think you're gonna buy this?
Right.
You can't
Not
afford
for
it.
sale.
Not for sale. Your mental health will come at the cost of this. You can't handle it.
We don't have any consideration of that, though. What do you mean mental health? Your person? Oh, God. They're just so gross in their perspectives of women. It's so fucking disturbing. It's like, we are not a commodity. We are people.
Right.
Right.
it's not our job to just sit out here and turn out babies and all these like soft skills. And listen, I've heard more than my fair share of man get grossed out over baby vomit, adult vomit,
So stupid.
bodily functions. They're like, I can't handle that. Oh, you big tough man now. You're scared of a little turd.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Right.
I mean, not to mention, you live long enough, someone's gonna have to be doing that for you. So
Yeah.
maybe start building those good graces now.
I'll take
Yeah.
care of you.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I'm gonna die first, but I'll take care of you until that happens.
Okay.
Like,
Goodness. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, everybody should have to go through a period of time where they work in various forms of service. You know, we've discussed that before concerning like working in restaurants and understanding what it is to be on that side. Well, I think people should also have to work for a certain period of time in like nursing homes and things like that and understand that, you know, we start life needing somebody to wipe our ass, we end life needing somebody to wipe our ass.
Right.
And you must still treat people with dignity in those positions at those periods of time.
Right.
right.
You know?
If for no, yeah. If
Yeah.
for no other reason, because it is gonna be you. You're absolutely right.
Like, fuck military service. You should
Right.
serve people direct. You
Yeah.
can work in a school. You can take care of geriatrics. You've got your pick, but you're doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
I think like a mandatory Peace Corps, AmeriCorps sort of thing instead of a draft.
We could call it People Corps.
Yeah,
I like it.
that'd be cool.
Hell yeah.
Little kidlets. You can have toddlers climbing up you like a jungle gym.
Mm.
Mhm.
You could have grandma chasing you down the hallway in her wheelchair.
Yeah, I did all that stuff in America.
Yes. Dude, that's one facet of my raising that I'm thankful for having had, because like when I was really little, my great grandmother lived with us, and so you know, even though I was very young, I do still have some memories of that, of how much work it was for my parents, especially my mom, because you know my dad was working full time plus going to school, so my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but it was a lot of work to care for her. And my mom also would babysit my friends that lived on the next block over. And as soon as I was old enough, I was babysitting my cousin's kids and stuff like that. So like I fully understood how much work and care it takes to really make sure that everybody's needs are met in the family and at home. You know, and that's something foundational that a lot of people are missing out on and having no grasp of like that concept at all. You know?
But also, it's like excellent relationship building skills too. Like, you remember those people. I have the clearest memories of my papa, aka, for those that don't use that term, grandpa. As a child, I was purposely dressed in overalls. He had a cane because he had really severe scoliosis, had polio as a child. Allegedly was to never walk again, etc. But he made it. But he would dress me in overalls so he could hook me with his cane to catch me from running away.
Come back here, kid.
Yep. So I'd like shorts, overalls in the summer, and then pants
Oh,
in
yeah,
the cold
the
months.
Jordarells. Wow.
Yeah, well, he's gonna catch me. I'm too
Yeah.
fast. But he just like, whoop, like, come
You
here.
needed a kid leash.
Oh goodness.
I did need a kid leash. It was not pretty. I'd like go knock on randos' doors and be like, "Hi, do you have any kids for me to play with?" My mom would get a phone call like, "Your daughter's looking for friends. Come pick her up, please."
Oh goodness. Aw.
Awful.
All right. Getting back into it.
On Sanford, in her book, Woman in Her Social and Domestic Character, said, quote, "Religion is just what a woman needs. Without it, she is ever restless or unhappy," unquote. Sexual
Zen, are you
purity
unhappy?
was to be the
I don't have religion. I'm happy.
I am happy about religion, you know, and like, I am a very spiritual person, but I don't like.
That's a different thing, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a difference between understanding that we are literally energetic beings riding around in a fucking electrified meat suit, and we are connected to everything. That's chemistry and physics. That's true understanding of nature itself and how we exist, versus dogmatic trash that tries to tell you what your role is based on the shape of your fucking bits.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and his little phrase there that women need religion in order to be happy. The subtext is really just women need control in order to be happy. That's what he's trying to put up there. So that's what religion is to this guy. It's about controlling her and her place in the world.
Right. And how happy would be if you tried to control me? How well do you think that would go?
Not very well.
Yeah.
That's why
Right.
I don't do it.
That would go over like a massive fart in an enclosed vehicle where the windows don't come down. No. That's the thing, like, leave it to a misogynistic ass fucking man like that to think he can speak for fucking women and be like, no, they're happier with us telling them what to do. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Oh yeah. These are the same guys who are trying to argue that slaves are happier being slaves, and that if they had freedom, it would be horrible for them. What would they do? They wouldn't know what to do with their lives, so they need us to come in and control them like a fatherly figure.
I mean, W got a sock and he was really, really happy about that sock, even though that meant absolutely nothing to anyone else. I'm just saying.
Too bad J.K. Rowling had to
Be at
bobble that
peace.
whole
Yeah.
issue.
Well, we have people like Jordan Peterson. I almost called
Jordan
him.
Jordan Peterson.
That's my pet name for him, Jordan Peterson, who still preach this way of like, oh, women are just chaos dragons. Ah.
Yeah, if you say enough words that sound profound, then you can fool people into believing you actually are.
Like, he cries every time he thinks he's thought of something that no one has
That's
ever
the thing.
conceived before.
That's just the worst part of it. It's like it should be okay for men to display emotions of sadness.
I mean, he can cry if he wants
But-
to, and I don't think
but
the
when it's-
reason for crying is...
Right, when it's because the thing you said is just so beautiful that you're making yourself cry, it's like, oh my god. Could you have your head up your own ass any further?
I mean, if he gets it up there far enough, it'll be in the same place it started.
Yeah. Oh, looks like I've just popped out again at the top. Oh.
It's like a turtle. He doesn't even need a house. He just lives in his own body shell.
Oh god.
God. Ugh. Fuck.
But, like, just that, like, women need to be controlled, and women do this and that and the other thing.
Mama's
I know, it's not good when she calls us late.
Do you need to take it?
If she leaves a message, I'll call her back.
Okay.
It's like Peterson and his fanboys really think that is a display of strength, and it's like, no, really, you're airing your fucking insecurities and your weaknesses because you are fragile as fuck. If you need to be like feeling in control of somebody else in order to feel the kind of security about yourself, that's weak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's like insecurities on display, but they don't look at it in that lens. It's like, oh, what's his face? The crazy shirtless man who's always screaming. Andrew Tate.
Oh,
That
Andrew
fucker.
Tate.
Like,
Oh my god.
real
Yeah.
special, right? Like,
There's-
why
Yeah,
women?
He's going down though. Like he's been kicked off Facebook. He's been kicked off YouTube. Basically all the platforms.
And I'm a religious man, but I have a harem of women. Like, not the way you the way you preach counteracts your lifestyle there, but if you were like, I'm a Mormon and I collect many wives like some collect Pokemon cards, that would be a very different situation.
Oh goodness. There's so many problematic things that, like, I was not even aware of the man's fucking existence until the last few days when the whole world decided to start slow roasting his ass. And the
Yeah.
things that I've seen are just like absolutely abhorrent.
Horrible.
him being tied to sex trafficking rings, things like that. An interview where he was discussing, like, oh, well, if you're dating a woman who has an OnlyFans page, she should be giving you a cut because that's your woman and she's selling her body that is yours. So you're
it's
entitled
your
to
product.
at least have the money. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like,
Right.
women are not your property.
Yeah, he's really gross.
I do have to go call her back. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys.
Well,
Andrew Tate's terrible.
everyone say
Yes,
bye
he
for
is.
now.
Jordan
to
Peterson's
Amanda.
terrible. Bye, guys. Adulting sucks. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. Can we get an adult in here? Preferably an adultier adult. I don't know.
What?
Fuck.
They're just laughing about what you said.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Back to the book. I'm gonna turn off the air conditioner. Just bring the white nose down a little bit. There we go. And away we go.
Special virtue of a woman. It was assumed that men, as a matter of biological nature, would sin, but woman must not surrender. As one male author said, quote, "If you do, you will be left in silent sadness to bewail your credulity, duplicity, and premature prostitution." A woman wrote that females would get into trouble if they were, quote, "high-spirited, not prudent," unquote.
Spirited.
The role began early, with adolescence. Obedience prepared the girl for submission to the first proper mate. Barbara Welter describes this, quote,
The assumption is twofold. The American female was supposed to be so infinitely lovable and provocative that a healthy male could barely control himself when in the same room with her. And the same girl, as she comes out of the cocoon of her family's protectiveness, is so palpitating with undirected affection, so filled to the brim with tender feelings, that she fixes her love on the first person she sees. She awakes from the midsummer night's dream of adolescence, and it is the responsibility of her family and society to see that her eyes fall on a suitable match, and not some clown with the head of an ass. They do their part by such restrictive measures as segregated by sex and or class, schools, dancing classes, travel, and other external controls. She is required to exert the inner control of obedience. The combination forms a kind of societal chastity belt, which is not unlocked until the marriage partner has arrived and adolescence is formally over. When Amelia Bloomer in 1851 suggested in her feminist publication that women wear a kind of short skirt and pants to free themselves from the encumbrances of traditional dress, this was attacked in the popular women's literature. One story has a girl admiring the Bloomer costume, but her professor admonishes her that they are, quote, only one of the many manifestations of that wild spirit of socialism and agrarian radicalism which is at present so rife in our land.
Oh man, I want to get some socialist underwear.
Right. Like, I've read a lot of stuff on socialism and never in there have found anything pertaining to fashion. Other than, like, breakdown of cost versus labor, like in capital, because we're talking thousands of people.
Right.
But not
that's
a determining factor of what your fashion should be because of your political perspective.
Yeah, but here we are, full circle again today, where all the conservatives are up in arms if a trans person exists in public, and now that's somehow a socialist, a cultural Marxist act for anyone who's non-traditional to ever exist in the public eye, not even do anything, just be there or be in a movie or something. So,
right,
yeah,
exist. It's like these motherfuckers can't handle like other people just existing in a different manner than they do, and they're like, I don't understand it. Well, I don't fucking understand Korean, but I understand it's a fucking real language.
Right.
You know, you know, it's one of those things that it's like you can't sit there and try to invalidate something just because it's outside of your personal experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe instead of your first instinct being to attack people, just try and understand a little bit more about them. Maybe just a little bit, Start
Right,
from the presumption that they are human like you and have similar desires and ideas and stuff. But I guess
right,
that's a lot to ask for a lot of people.
right. That part. It's like they can't handle the concept of somebody having equal rights because of their gender identity. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, like this literally does not affect your life at all. So
No.
why are you so obsessed with how other people exist and with trying to critique it from horrible points of view that all of your arguments are absolute falsehoods because you're making
Mm.
stupid presumptions because you really don't know the first fucking thing about anybody in that community. You know, like I've
Yeah.
recently had some interactions along those lines and had to call out some transphobic motherfuckers, and I was like, "You're
Well, that's
weak."
good. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
um,
Well, so often it comes down to just projection. They either are that thing themselves that they rail against, or they're so afraid of becoming it that they have to do whatever they can to just destroy it, lest it,
right,
grow inside them somehow.
right. It's
So,
like that. It's not how that works. Um,
no, of
you
course
know,
not, because we're inundated with like heteronormative, cis white people in their normal, quote unquote, normal relationships every single day, and yet somehow not everyone is that way. So it kind of
right,
just flies in the face of that entire theory that somehow just by knowing something exists that you're going to turn into it or be influenced by it.
right. It's like I was mostly surrounded by completely fucking straight people growing up, and I still turned out
Me
bisexual.
too.
Why? Because it has nothing to do with outside influences. It has to do with who I am. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Absolutely.
um, yeah, like people don't grasp that, and I don't understand where the fuck they come up with some of their bullshit. But it's like transgendered people have always existed, gender fluid people have always existed, intersex people have always existed, and that's something they don't realize either because they're like, well, I'm talking about biological sex, and it's like, so you're completely ignorant to the fact that there are people who have like XXY or XYY physical chromosome, and that it literally does, have a dynamic when it comes to your hormone levels as well as like how you feel within that skin suit and how you identify, because being intersexed is a valid thing to
Mm-hmm.
relate to being both male and female because you literally are, you know things like
Yeah.
that just go right over their head because they fucking stopped at that like third grade level of education of, well, there's boys and there's girls. No, there's a lot more to it than that.
Right. Well, but I mean, just beyond that, like sidestepping that entire issue, in virtually 100% of your interactions with any given person throughout your entire life, it's going to not matter what they identify as
Right,
or versus what they have biologically in their chromosomes. You're never going to see another person's chromosomes, let alone have the expertise to determine whether or not, oh well, this definitely is some XY skin cells that you have, so clearly I need to stop calling you by your preferred pronouns and
that,
just go along with
that.
what's in the microscope. Like,
Right.
most people, you just take it at their word. You see someone who you're not quite sure, and they may be a cis person, um, who just, to you doesn't present in a cis way. Uh, but you're not going to be like, hey, oh, can I just check your genitals before I refer to you as sir or ma'am? Like, what a
Right,
weirdo would
right,
think that way.
right.
What does it matter? Just
especially like,
Random
okay,
strangers.
all of the shit surrounding like sports where now they're like, well, you might have had surgery, so we need to check your DNA too. And it's like,
Oh
okay,
God.
that truly isn't even really a determining factor either, because you could literally have the majority of your body operating on XX, but have certain specific tissues operating on XY. Why? Because
Yeah.
genetics are fucking complicated and multifaceted.
Right. And again, you can just sidestep the entire issue and say the Special Olympics have figured out how to have co-ed competition. They've figured out how to make it work. How come the regular competitions can't figure that shit out? Because I mean, they do. They what the way that the Special Olympics breaks things down is by ability level and adaptability level. What
Right,
you need to adapt um, to play the sport, and that's it.
right.
So it's really not that hard.
It's really not. And I think a lot of it might come down to some insecurities, because let's just be honest, a lot of these motherfuckers are just fucking scared of male competitors being beaten by female ones, because that like threatens their sense of man stronger than woman. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Right. Right.
Since is strength a male characteristic? It's not. It is a personality characteristic that knows no gender. You know?
Well, geez. And even amongst just, vanilla cis people, there's a huge Venn diagram overlap in strength level between men and women.
Right.
You know, I have a brother who is a smaller guy, and there's plenty of women that I know who literally are much larger and stronger than him, and that's not uncommon. So
Right.
the idea that it's all just, either big strong man or small tiny female, that's just bullshit.
Right. It's ridiculous. You know? It's one of those things that I've always found ridiculous, especially like, okay, given the school system that I grew up in, like they didn't care that I was a girl. They saw my strengths when it came to like working out in the gym at the school and stuff, and I got approached to join the wrestling team that was mostly guys,
That's
because
cool.
they were like, wait a minute, you got the skills for this shit, and I,
Yeah.
I probably should have taken them up on it, and I didn't. But at least knowing that that opportunity was there and that I wouldn't be excluded from that because of my gender was one of those cool things about my school, that they were like, dude, you would rock at this. Will you please join the wrestling team? you
Hmm.
know? Um, it, I don't understand why people think that fucking sports that are supposed to be for fun should be separated by gender. It's
Yeah.
dumb. We had girls
Yeah.
on our football team. We had girls on our wrestling team. There was no reason to divide it up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, when it comes down to it, all of the end reasons why they need to have these separated divisions, it tends to be things like, well, scholarships are determined that way. Well, if we all had free college, that would, as we should be, that would not just be a non-issue again. So the issue is not that some people will get scholarships that didn't deserve it. It's that a whole lot of people that deserve to go to college can't really afford to.
Right.
um, even with Pell Grants and federal loans and all of this stuff. It's still expensive. You still have to have a place to live. You still have to buy food. It's and then eventually you have to pay it
Right.
off. So
And the thing is, I haven't looked it up in forever. I don't know if they have changed the guidelines. But when I started college, well, I mean, that was even going back further, because technically I started at 15 and was dual enrolled. So I had tuition assistance from my high school to do that. But like once I
cool.
actually graduated high school, I had to like take that on myself, my family and I did, of paying for that stuff, because I didn't qualify for Pell Grants or student loans until I was 25.
What? How does that work?
Yeah, you literally could not get them if you weren't at least 25 years old, because they had a thing called expected family contribution that basically was a big fuck you if your family can't afford to pay your tuition.
Right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, a major press could be solved just by letting people have the basic things they need to survive and thrive. You know, the
Right.
basic things they need to actually have a pursuit of liberty and happiness.
Right. And the system is set up like, well, I mean, if your family hasn't been successful enough financially, then you don't deserve the opportunity. Fuck you. And it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
fuck you. You know,
Yeah.
everybody should have an opportunity to pursue whatever education it is. I don't care whether it's university, trade school, art schools to like, learn
Yeah.
painting and
Whatever
music.
you feel. Hmm.
Yeah. Like pursue your passion.
Right. Right.
Doesn't come
Right.
behind a fucking paywall.
All right. Ooh, looks like we are coming up on the 9 o'clock hour, so I think we will leave it there for tonight.
Yeah.
We're almost 2/3 of the way through. I guess we're more like halfway through of the chapter, but not to worry. There'll be another edition next Monday. Be doing part 3 of chapter 6. This has been good stuff. It's good to have you back this time, Trisha, and you actually stayed with it basically the whole time. You only cut out very briefly. So yeah,
Right.
success.
I'm glad the hotspot on the new phone is functioning better. You know,
That's
like,
awesome. And
right,
yeah, I really hope next week that your new place that you get into is even better and more stable. Because
right.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
always nice. Always nice having you.
Thank you. It's always fun being here. Just heads up, like Monday, I will still be here, and on my hotspots, it's a week from Thursday on the first when I move over to the other
Cool.
campground. But from there out, I should be totally cool on the Wi-Fi signal again. So I'm looking forward
All
to that.
right. Well, hopefully the phone will hold up next week then too.
Like, yes, I hope so.
All
It's
right.
held pretty good tonight. I'm happy about that.
Anything you wanted to plug from For We Are Many or any other projects you got going on that you want to shout out before we go?
Yeah, we switched the current events back to Tuesday nights to be able to adjust around Rob's new work schedule.
Cool.
Um, and there's also more classes that are being done this round for the Panther political education classes. We're not just doing the Hassan Shakur political education course, we also have an MLM course that will be streaming, as well as continuing on with um, Blood in My Eye by George Jackson.
Oh, nice.
I do need to kick out an updated schedule for that. I can't recollect all of the show times at the moment because there's um, backup airings too, in case somebody can't make one of those meeting times that they can join on another one. So
Cool.
pretty soon here we will have that rolling out a little more smoothly. I've been talking with not Rob from For We Are Many, but the other Rob who is one of the instructors from the White Panther Party. We're
Sure.
going to get him trained on restreams, so that way, even if Rob or I isn't available to be able to stream at that specific time, then the other Rob can do so. So keep your eyes peeled for more of those classes kicking out. And when I get a chance, I will kick out a poster with the schedule so it's a little easier to keep up with because we had to switch days on a lot of those too.
Very cool. Yeah, those are some good classes. I've listened in a couple of times, and I'm always really impressed by the quality of the speakers that you get for them. So it's really
Hell
cool.
yeah, I'll pass that feedback along. They'll appreciate that.
Nice. I just want to remind everyone that this Friday we are having our second monthly leftist karaoke night.
Oh, shit. Thank
So
you for the reminder.
yeah, I'm gonna type the link into chat right now.
Hell yeah.
All right, here it comes.
Oh, I just saw James comment. I'm sorry, hon. we only did like a brief last minute announcement of that schedule change. I'm sorry you were waiting Friday. Um, I, feel free to message me anytime if there's something conflicting schedule wise.
Yeah, pepperoni rolls and Zeppelin. You'll have to suggest a different Zeppelin song this time, James, because I did Stairway to Heaven. That's my one and only time I'm performing that one because it's not one that I know very well.
Hey,
uh,
you rocked it. I love that song.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, oh no, it's a fun song to sing. He's
Yeah,
very theatrical in that one. He really gets into
absolutely.
it. So, Cashmere. All
Cashmere.
right,
That's a
we'll
good
see.
one.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Excellent
yeah,
suggestion, though.
anyone watching wants to participate in it, come over to the Facebook group. I just left that link there. Um, and that's where all the discussion happens. But it will be only happening on live on Twitch again. So sorry, James, you're gonna have to come back over to Twitch and maybe see an ad unless you subscribe, uh, in order to get in on Friday night. Because just of because of the nature of playing copywritten music or singing it, even though we're not playing the originals. Um, that's the only way we can do it. And then I'll put out the video as soon as I can, because it seems like Facebook is cool with that. It's just that it gets demonetized, which is no big deal. I'm happy to
Right.
have the revenue go to the artists themselves.
Right.
So that's how that's going to work. But yeah, come in this Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bread Theory on Twitch. So bread_theory there. Yeah, it was a really fun time last time. So I'm anticipating another really good time this time.
Hell yeah. Should be good. It's always
All
fun.
right. Let's see.
I
Do we
love
have?
trivia.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully your connection will be a little bit better this time, Trisha, so you can sing more than one song. I'm hoping.
Fuck.
Fingers
I hope
crossed.
so.
Yeah.
And this time, like, even
Uh,
if I do have to log back in directly through my phone, I will see if my laptop can at least catch enough signal to just play the music from YouTube on there so it's not doing
That'd be
that
cool.
double
So it's not the
shit.
mismatched, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing I got to figure out how to work out so we all hear the music at the same time. Because right now it kind of makes it so we can't do group sings yet or duets or anything like that unless you're physically in the room with the same person. But I'll figure it out sometime. Probably not this time though. I don't think I'll have enough time before between then and now. But yeah, just as a reminder, everyone, again, no streamless Wednesday. Uh, Doing more house hunting, so that's got to take priority, unfortunately, but also fortunately. Eventually, we'll have a permanent streaming room.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. All
Studio.
right. All right. Well, thanks again, Trisha, and I will see you next time. Have a good
Thank
night,
you
everybody.
for having me again. It's been fun as always, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah.